My name is Matt. Follow along as I turn Duracell, the legendary ocean racing sailboat, into a comfortable cruising home.
Thanks again to Squarespace for supporting our channel. As you know, Matt and I chose Squarespace to build our website.
So last week we cut out the ballast tanks. And before I get into building anything new in there, I have to do a lot of grinding for quite a few reasons. First, the new ballast tanks will be fiberglass to the hull, so I need to remove the interior paint for the fiberglass to adhere to. You'll see in these shots that I don't get all the paint off, and where the fiberglass tapes go, I will get those areas ground off eventually. The interior of the tanks will have to be coated with a very special food-grade epoxy coating so that we won't be drinking contaminated water. I need to be very sure that all the old paint is either given a really good tooth for the new coating to stick to or removed if it's loose at all. As you can see, I make an incredible amount of dust that is really bad for both myself and the environment, so it's really important that these areas that I grind are very well sealed with plastic so no dust escapes. It's a pretty tedious job for which there will be a lot of these during this massive project, but I'm always really happy to get a chunk of it done.
You look like you just walked on the moon. You're covered in moon dust.
I'm only half done.
Dusty.
Very. Okay, so the next project is to start building the water tanks that are being modified from the original ballast tanks. And we're doing this to make more room in the boat for cabinetry and galley and seating areas and stuff. And so how it's going to go is I'm going to use the panels that I cut out, and first it's going to have a floor panel that goes across that horizontally to the hull side, and that'll be glassed into the hull all the way down. And then there'll be a vertical panel that comes up to counter height, and then this top panel will be at counter height all the way, and all of them will be all the way down. And there will also be baffles down the middle, baffle here probably, and another one over there, to keep water from sloshing around. I first templated it and cut out the baffles. These prevent water from moving around too much inside the tank. There are spaces cut out of them so that the compartment is not sealed, and there will be one baffle per compartment, making each smaller compartment about 30 to 35 gallons each. These will just be glued in and help support the top of the tank. After the baffle was cut out, I'd work on the lid of the lower tank. I templated out the shape and cut the part out of the old pieces of the ballast tanks. For this port side, I also cut out the top tank baffle and the vertical tank wall, but those will be installed later. As one would hope, I did get better and faster at building these as I moved on to the starboard side. But still, even building the starboard baffles, I had to go back and forth quite a few times to make sure that they fit exactly as I wanted them to. So the last few minutes of that you've watched of time lapse of me grinding and then templating and building these pieces was actually like a week's worth of work, because this grinding takes a long time, and as you can see, I'm not done yet. I have 8 panels to do, and I've only done 2 of them so far. And so this is what they were before, this is what they'll be after. So I have a ways to go with the grinding, and I hope you'll excuse me that we're not going to show it on camera because it's very boring.
Thank you to all of our viewers for watching, and thank you also to Squarespace. As you know, we chose Squarespace to build our website for the Duracell project. This week, we're working on a fundraiser for the Mast. We created a new page to accept donations for items taken off the boat. It was really easy to include photo galleries for each item and buttons to make an offer or ask a question. So I encourage you to check out squarespace.com for a free trial. When you're ready, you can go to squarespace.com/the Duracell project for 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Thank you again, and back to the show.
These are the first 2 parts of the water tanks that I'm going to be installing, the bottom forward parts of them. I'm trying to reuse as much of the old ballast tanks as I can. These parts were cut out, had inspection ports in them, and these inspection ports were basically holes that you could get into the tank, and then when they closed them up, they just put this big plate on them and bolted them together so that they were sealed up. And so I don't want to use these, so I'm going to be sealing them up. And so I cut these pieces out from other pieces of the boat that I cut out, and they'll go in like this. I'll glue them in and then laminate over the whole thing. So that's what I'm going to be doing this evening. I am going to be building my own inspection hatches, or maybe even buying my own inspection hatches that there'll be a bunch of them, because there's a whole bunch of different compartments within the tanks, but these are too big for what we're using them for. the little like spot that I ground through the fiberglass, I forgot to fill it. I'm just gonna fill it with a thickened epoxy so it's nice and fair with the rest of the epoxy. So this is the piece, one of the pieces that we started sealing up last night. This was the old access hatch, and so I'm going to fit it in right now to show you how it fits. As you can see, I've got kind of the basic shape of the new water tanks built on just on this side. So the old ballast tanks, as you can see, went way up here and took this whole shape. I've cut them down so that they're like a third of what they used to be. So there'll be water underneath here, there'll be water back behind here. And as you can see, it has this new orientation has created a lot of space for us to, like livable space for us to use. So like this area right here that I'm sitting in will be a love seat kind of little bench area. Back there will be the nav station, among other things. That will all be storage over there, plus, and then the galley on the starboard side aft. It's working out really well as far as making space in the boat. Logistically, these are going to be pretty difficult to build because not only do I have to seal them up, I'd like to seal them up from the inside, so I have to get inside the tank once they're glued together to laminate, to tape, fiberglass tape the inside. They have to be painted on the inside with a coating that is safe for drinking water because this is going to be potable water. So we have to be able to paint the inside and then seal them up. So I'll be making access hatches for each compartment. There will be valves and drains for where water will come out, be able to move from side to side, sight glasses, vents. Apart from like the rest of the interior of the boat, which will be a lot more simple to build than these will be a very logistically difficult project. So I'm excited to, get them done.
That's the home of Duracell's future mast.
So we've been looking for a mast for quite a while now, and we think we found a really good one that's down in California. Before we commit to that one, there could be a more perfect mast out there, something that's maybe closer to us, any number of things, but we just wanted to put out one last call to anybody who may know of something that is in the area that we're looking for an 80-foot mast, preferably aluminum. Carbon is okay too. If you know of anything, we'd love to hear your ideas. In the future, we're pretty confident that what we found will work really well for us. We have a few more Patreons to thank this week. First, thank you to Eugen and Anna, who are from Croatia. They race and cruise on this really cool boat. It's called Outsider. And they are also hoping to turn a big race boat into a cruising boat here in the future. Eugen has his eye on this Grand Soleil 56R, which looks like a really fun boat to sail and will be quite the project to turn into a cruising boat. So we wish him luck. And happy birthday to his girlfriend, Anna. Jost is a paramedic from Germany. He first sailed on the Baltic many years ago and was also in the German Navy. And he is planning to start taking sailing lessons here soon and get his own cruising boat and go for a cruise. So we wish him all the best in his journeys. Also, thank you to Panu. He's in Finland. He is actually starting his own project, building this 15-meter cat catch, which is kind of his own design. He built his own DIY CNC machine he's going to use to cut out all the parts. It's a really incredible project, and we're really looking forward to following along. His YouTube channel is called Arctic Sea Camel, and you can follow along his big boat building project. And then thank you to Andrew. Andrew has been a wanderer, it sounds like. He's lived all over the place in Europe and Canada and the US and Australia. Used to own a sailboat in BC and cruised around down up there from here. And he is considering getting back into cruising here soon. So thank you again very much to Andrew. Lastly, thank you to Dan and Sean and Ronald. Thank you again so much to everybody.